Good morning, yogis. It's me, Melissa Hagedorn, the director of the Northwest Yoga Conference, and today, as part of our mental health awareness campaign that we're doing, I wanted to share my meditation practice with you that has helped me a lot through some of the challenges I've dealt with. So I just want to start by sharing a little bit about the type of meditation that I practice. I started practicing meditation about 7 years ago, and I actually lived really close to the Ananda Temple in Bothell, Washington, so I took a meditation class from them and really enjoyed it, and practiced meditation in that style for a while, and just explored different types of meditation. And then about 2 years ago, I went on a 9-day silent retreat in the Vipassana style, and that was my first exposure to that style, and it really resonated with me, and so that's where a lot of my meditation practice lies today. So meditation practices usually fall into either what they call concentration practice or open awareness. So the concentration practices are the ones where you have one pointed focus, like you're focused on a mantra, or you're using a mala, or you're focusing on your breath, or maybe it's a candle. And the open awareness practice is where you're just sitting and observing what arises and practicing non-attachment and just being with what is. And for me, because I deal with a lot of anxiety, that practice is really helpful for me because I go out into the world and a lot of anxiety gets stirred up, and I have to be able to just sit with what is, with that feeling. So a lot of people find this helpful to kind of calm the mind down using concentration first before they segue over to open awareness meditation. So if you think about it, a lot of people start a meditation practice and then they stop because they feel like they're not any good at it and it's too hard and their mind is so busy. But if you think about taking a wild elephant, for an example, out of the wild, and you're trying to tame it, and you put it on a leash and stake it somewhere, stake the leash so it has a little bit of area to move around, that elephant's gonna go kind of crazy at first because it doesn't like being settled down. It doesn't like being stabilized. It wants to be wild. It wants to roam. It wants to be free. It wants to do whatever it wants to do. So that's what your mind is really doing when you're starting a meditation practice. It's had free reign up until that point, and it's it doesn't want somebody telling it what to do or that it needs to settle down. Or so I think when you start a meditation practice, it's important just to remember that and to be kind and compassionate to yourself and not be judgmental about whether you're doing a good job or not. It's really about just investing the time in sitting and letting go of any attachment to results. So the Vipassana style of meditation, part of that practice really is that you're sitting and labeling the sensory experiences that arise. At any time in your body, you have the 5 senses that are going on, and one of those is always the most prominent. So you're just labeling what that prominent sense experience is at that time. So when you're doing a sitting meditation, it's usually that you're hearing, or you're feeling, or you're thinking, or you're having sensory experience in the body. So you're really just sitting and you notice sound. Maybe it's the sound of your meditation teacher. You say hearing. And that's it. You don't even add any more story to it than that. It's not hearing meditation teacher. It's hearing. That's it. And so by labeling these senses as they're arising, it helps you to stay in the present moment. And so that's why it can be such a powerful tool, especially for people who are dealing with anxiety, because anxiety lives a lot in the past and in the future. So this practice can help you stay in the present. And if you're watching, by the way, too, if you have any questions, you can throw them out there and I'll answer them at the end after the meditation. So we're going to go ahead and get started and do just a short little meditation to start our morning. So if you want to go ahead and find a comfortable seated position, you want to sit in a way that you can be relaxed, but you can also be alert and be paying attention. So you could be sitting on the floor. If you're sitting on the floor, I would recommend taking a pillow or a cushion to lift your knees up so they're higher, or lift your hips up so they're higher than your knees. Or you can also sit on the edge of a chair, whatever is comfortable for you. And then once you find that comfortable seat, we'll go ahead and close our eyes and just start to allow the body to come into the present moment, doing a little scan of our body, just checking in to see where we might be holding some tension. Oftentimes this is in our jaws. Just letting the breath relax that tension in the body. Seeing if there's any tightness in the shoulders, for gripping in the pelvis area, just allowing any tension to relax out of the body. And then we'll go ahead and start to bring our awareness into a concentration practice of focusing on the breath. So bringing your awareness to the tip of your nostrils, just start to be aware of the sensation on the tip of your nostrils when you inhale and when you exhale. And we're not trying to change the breath here. We're not practicing Ujjayi breathing here. We're just breathing normally, letting our body take its natural course with our breath, but practicing awareness. And this tip of our nostril is serving as our anchor for our concentration, for our awareness. So we're just bringing our awareness to that point. Inhaling, exhaling. If we find that our mind wanders, we lovingly guide it back to the tip of our nostrils. Without any judgment, without any shame, you just say, "Oh, hello mind, you've wandered. Come on back to my nostril." Bring that awareness back to the inhale and exhale sensation on the tip of the nostril. And once we've anchored into our practice using the breath, we're going to go ahead and come into an open awareness. So instead of focusing our awareness on the breath, we direct our awareness to the sensations that are arising. That may be hearing. Perhaps there's somebody else in this space that you're in. You hear them moving around. Maybe you hear the heater kicking on. Maybe you hear birds chirping and chattering outside your window. Just noticing, hearing. Again, we're not creating any story around the hearing. We're not describing what we're hearing. We're just noting that we're hearing. And we may also feel sensations arise in the body, and we'll label those as well. Might be that you have a slight ache somewhere in your body, or perhaps you're outside and you feel the wind across your skin. Just noting those sensations that come up. And as we sit, too, we strive not to make any movements in our body unless we're really on the edge of pain. Because if we move just slightly to scratch an itch or make a slight adjustment, then we'll condition the mind to make those slight movements. And for people who also are dealing with anxiety, it's a really great way to practice how in your day-to-day living, non-reactivity to things that might trigger your anxiety. So being able to resist that urge to scratch something, whether it be responding to an anxiety trigger or whether it's wanting to move your body in meditation. So we just note that there's an uncomfortable sensation and let it be there. And we also might find the mind wandering and thinking about our grocery shopping list or what somebody said to us or something that we need to get done later today. And we just note that. We step away from the story of it and we just observe that we have been thinking. And each of these times that we create this labeling in our meditation practice, we're bringing ourselves into the present moment. Again, anytime your mind wanders, you can label that as thinking. You don't need to judge yourselves about it. The act of meditation is just noting that the thinking was occurring. So we'll sit here for a few minutes labeling and just do your best and let that be good enough. we'll slowly start to bring our awareness back here. Slowly open our eyes if we hopefully you had your awareness present, but just in case, come back. Just notice how you feel after this practice. And for those of you who might be struggling with depression or anxiety, obsessive thinking, or rumination, one thing I do like to add into that practice too is to label that as well as it arises, because sometimes that will just help us to be aware of how often it's happening and to create some space so that we can see that it's happening and make a choice about what we would like to do about that. So I do like to add that in as well. So I hope that's helpful. Thanks for joining us for meditation, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.